Hi fans of high quality entertainment, and yes, I'm in a different location, but don't worry, I'll sit back in my chair because I know somebody always comments, why aren't you sitting in your chair? It's because sometimes I like to be in a different location and I like this background, so thought I like to change things up every few years. So my idea for today's video, and actually I would love your top 10 list, if you can think of them. 10 artists that I love, and my least favorite or worst album by them, or albums. There's some where I've included more than one album, so. And these aren't in any order. But first up is... And for some of these, I'm not even saying that they're bad. It's just I haven't gotten into them yet. I try and try, and I just don't like them that much. I'm sorry. But I won't give up. You know, every few months I do play, not all of these, but some of these, including Captain Beefheart. I love Captain Beefheart. But there's a couple of albums that are just average to me, and then these two I've just never gotten into at all. The Mere Sessions, they're kind of related too, and Captain Beefheart and His Magic Band, which he later changed to The Magic Band, with Strictly Personal. So some of these songs are on both albums. When this was released, I guess some producer used a lot of, what was it called, phasing or whatever, and supposedly, when this was released, Captain Beefheart supposedly liked it. And then when it wasn't doing well and not getting good reviews, he, of course, blamed the producer. But who knows? But there they are. Some of it is like these long jam sessions, and like Tarot Plane is, I think, over 20 minutes long. And it's not like it's bad, but it's just not interesting to me, and so I rarely play these. But like I said, every few months I will attempt to try and get into them. Now, the only reason I bought this album is I was ranking the band, and just the way I am, if I'm going to rank a band's discography, I like to own all of the albums, just for whatever silly reason. And so I bought Calling All Stations by Genesis. I've played it only one time. I don't want to play it anymore. It's a really long, it's back in the era when a band would fill the CD to the max, and a lot of long songs on this. It's like a double album, and I know it's got its fans, but I just have no interest in it without Phil Collins or Peter Gabriel. I will never listen to this again. I've tried with this one, and I even did a video, does this album suck? And I don't think I said at the end that it sucked, but still, I don't find it that interesting. I would rather play something else by Pink Floyd than the final cut. I just can't get into it. I'm sorry. I apologize if you like some of these albums and I don't. But then you won't like some of the albums that I like, so it all kind of works out evenly. One of my all-time favorite bands, and I know one of Scott from the Prog Corner's all-time favorite bands. And there's 2 or 3 that I could have chosen, but I've chosen Yes's Union, which I think is on a lot of Yes's fans' list as one of their weakest albums. It's just a mess. There's so many musicians on it, and it's all over the place, and there are some good songs, but I don't remember them because I haven't played this in a while. But when I ranked the Yes albums, I think this was at the bottom or close to the bottom. Now this album is on vinyl. It's the only one that's on vinyl. Really disappointing when it came out. The World's Greatest Polka Package. It's a double album. It's a joke. Jokes aren't working today. So, once again, I'm a huge fan of Lou Reed. This isn't necessarily a bad album. It's had pretty good reviews. But for whatever reason, I just don't like it that much. It is Set the Twilight Reeling. And the album that came, I believe it was after this one, Ecstasy. I love Ecstasy. But this one, and make a good thumbnail. Yeah, but this one, Egg Cream, New York City Man, Finish Line. There might be one or two songs I like on this, but it's just, yeah, I don't know. I would seriously rather listen to Lulu, the one he did with Metallica. I don't mind that one. Well, as much as I am a huge fan of Sparks, they've made a couple of duds, 2 or 3 duds. And one of them could be Terminal Jive, which was a really, really disappointing follow-up to their amazing Number One in Heaven album. But When I'm With You is a classic. It was a huge hit in France. I think it sold over 1 million copies. And there's some good songs on it, like Stereo, Noisy Boys. This one, though, is bland. It's one word for an album. For this one, I would say bland. It just doesn't have the Ron and Russell personality, humor, the production. This is when I think that they started recording, Sparks Studio at Russell's home. And they were just, starting to learn. So the production is kind of on the weak side. And there's still some songs that I do love. So Important. You Got a Hold of My Heart. And The Toughest Girl in Town. But overall, and then there's this song Madonna with a French version, a German version, a Spanish version for the bonus tracks. I love the cover though. I know some people don't. It's very retro. Now this album kind of incorporates one of my favorite solo artists, although he was in a band too, and one of my favorite bands. Just make sure Mark Farner isn't watching. Grand Funk Railroad, good singing, good playing. It's not bad, but it's, for me, later on they went pretty poppy, pop rock. And so I was disappointed in this, even though Frank Zappa produced it. Yeah, it was just more of the same for me, kind of similar to Born to Die and All the Girls in the World Beware. I love the earlier Grand Funk, up to Shining On. Well, my all-time favorite artist is Paul McCartney, but he's released some albums. I would say none of them are bad, at least to me. Maybe to you, he's released some bad ones. I know that Driving Rain isn't a very popular one, but I like that album. The one that I I've tried and tried and tried to get into, and I was hoping sometimes when they, the new archive editions come out and they've remastered the albums, I think, might improve the sound and everything, and I might like it like I have for some of the other albums. But this one has never changed my opinion of it, and I've tried and tried. It is Pipes of Peace. Yeah. 2 or 3 really good songs on this, but overall, I never play this much anymore. Maybe once a year I'll take it out and try, but I get the same reaction. I don't care for it too much. Okay, so we've done 8. So like I said, well, I'll leave that for last. This artist, he is one of my all-time favorite solo artists, or from one of my favorite bands, and also I love his solo career, especially the early albums, although I haven't heard all of his albums. But this one I knew wasn't one of his most loved. It didn't have very good reviews, but I wanted it in my collection. I played it once. I haven't played it since. It is John Anderson, The More You Know. It's very, very poppy, and not in a good way. Yeah, it's... I don't want to say bad, but it's kind of cringy in spots, well, right there, John Anderson. Melodies, lyrics, vocals, love and trust. But no, I love John Anderson. It's just this album for me is, from the ones I've heard, his weakest. So make sure I've got 10 here. Captain Beefheart, 1. Genesis is 2. Pink Floyd is 3. Yes is 4. Lou Reed is 5. Sparks is 6. Grand Funk is 7. Paul McCartney is 8. And John Anderson is 9. Okay. So, like I said, they're not ranked, but the 10th one probably is number 1. Once again, 2 of my favorite solo artists. And he was in a pretty good band called the Beatles. So these are the 3 experimental albums. Get these in order. That one, 2 Virgins, Life with the Lions, and Wedding Album. And when I was ranking all of the John Lennon albums, I made myself listen to all 3 of these all the way through. They're even on my channel, but it's sped up. But I seriously listened to all of them, and none of them got good ratings. And some people, believe it or not, like this experimental stuff. I'm just not a fan of it. And I know, there's people out there that don't like Yoko Ono's screaming. But it depends. And she doesn't always scream in her songs. Approximately Infinite Universe is a superb double album with song-based songs. And she sings, and I think she has a really nice voice. But I do like some of her screaming, like in Y, on her Plastic Ono Band album, with John's awesome guitar work. But these 3 for me are bad. Should I try this again? I did this when I had the vinyl record. Let's see if my opinion's changed. Nope. Yeah, so that's it. I would love your thoughts. What are some of your favorite bands, and then an album of theirs that you think is not one of their best? You're really disappointed in it, or it's even bad. Okay. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.